She's had plenty of drug problems and dated some questionable men. She's been blamed for promoting anorexia and heroin use. And her nicknames include Cocaine Kate and Kate Meth.
Welcome to episode 1 of The Alternative, brought to you by the Blackcraft Network. You never know who's going to show up, and you never know what crazy psychotic stories we're going to tell. So stay tuned and see you inside.
When I did that MDA with the Molly, I projectile vomited at concourse. So
that's fun.
That was a new fear unlocked. I didn't think that was gonna ever happen.
I took a bunch of press tabs to go see Deadmau5.
Mm-hmm. That's the beginning of that one.
And so my buddy picks me up. We're eating a Duchico. I eat a bunch of sushi. He picks me up. I pop the Mollies. We go straight to Moody. As we're walking in, I realize like food poisoning for sure. Like something I ate is fucked up. So I was like, oh, guys, I got to go. So I was rolling tits, puking my brains out off of the bridge on South First. And I was like, this feels awesome.
I was going to say, was it at least like pleasant?
Yeah.
Like
Dude, my nipples are like fucking dying. And I'm just puking off the bridge.
Just a core memory. I'm never forgetting this one.
Oh, God.
That's just me. I'm like, well, it had to have felt nice at least, you know? Like,
I put my AirPods in. I was like, I'm fucking good.
please, just puts on like, I don't even know, like a flute music or something. I don't know.
New Andre 3000 album.
No, does he have a new album?
With flutes.
Wait, really?
Who?
Is he rapping over the flute?
There's no words.
Okay.
It's straight up just a flute album.
So we went from Hey Ya to that, huh?
Yeah, especially for someone that's known as like a great lyricist and like a great rapper, and then he just puts out a fucking
Just a great
flute album.
flautist.
Yeah, I was confused. But you eat some mushrooms, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I think anything would be, you know. We were talking about that. I think I'm like a shroom girly now. I think I'm going to like forgo everything else. Probably not, but I think, you know, it could be a nice thing for me to do. Perhaps. Bailey is like sober. She's like, doesn't.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, I don't
I know.
drink, but I do
Oh,
pretty
so then
much
you're-
everything else.
Yeah.
I'm like, she's sober.
She doesn't
I'm
do
like,
this.
no, Bailey's straight edge, guy.
But like alcohol, everything else is fair game. Like, I think I'm in my Coke era,
Okay.
but that's just because
Just
I'm
the past
doing
30 years. Go
I'm
ahead.
doing bodybuilding, so it's like you don't have fucking energy, and I'm just like, this is I'm not even doing
What
this
are
to
you
get
building?
fucked up. I mean, really,
Your
it's
tolerance to Coke. Just
Yeah.
exactly. It's not really building up anything. Like I'm just
It's a
becoming.
diuretic. You're probably just getting shredded.
I'm just
Yeah.
anorexic.
Not hungry,
Yeah.
really.
Literally, like I didn't know that I have a bruise right now on my leg because my dog that is 10 pounds jumped on me and lightly scratched me. I was like,
Oh.
oh, okay.
Oh, no.
So this is what an eating disorder is like. Cool.
Yeah.
Wouldn't know.
Don't do too much. Your hair will fall.
I'm like,
I know. I was
that'd
like,
be bad.
I'm like,
You have nice hair.
thank you. I have noticed a
You
little
have
thin in
volume,
front.
and you're going to lose all of that.
Listen, like we're in the tail end. Once
Okay.
this shit is over, I am going to Burning Man.
Mhm.
I am getting fucked up.
Wait, hell yeah.
Yeah.
See, I'm like, I'm done with drugs. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like,
Wait, let's
Well,
go to Burning Man and do
I-
drugs.
I will dabble. Okay.
I fully am going to be ripped at Burning Man, which will be
Do
excellent.
we do like ayahuasca? Do we do like
I would do
what you do in caves? Like, you know what I mean? Where people go for like a spiritual awakening?
Could.
Yeah.
You do Ibogaine. Just have
like
a terrible
a toad.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do
do
it all.
what?
Ibogaine.
I have not heard of
It's a
this.
super duper psychedelic. Ask Jared about it.
Yeah, I've heard about
Yeah,
it from
it's-
from Jared specifically.
Yeah. It's they use it to cure alcoholism.
Hmm.
But
We know so many
mushrooms,
people that
if you-
need it.
Yeah.
If you take like 7 to 10 grams, you get like that ego death, heroic dose feeling where all of your problems and stuff are like just thrust upon you. Ibogaine is like that, like 10x and over like 2 days.
I put it in like my ex's coffee. I'm like, oh, this is gonna fix everything.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
be together now. Damn. I'm like, oh yeah, just fix all the drama, girl.
I don't think I
can
could
fix
do that.
Exactly. Drugs him. I mean, has anyone tried it? Every, you know,
So I think, like,
experiment
part
needs
of the it working is that you want to do something.
Oh.
Like you have to have an impetus for change to take the drug.
Well,
Okay.
So you couldn't like dose him into being a better person. Scopolamine and
Yeah.
do what like all the hookers in Colombia do and just coerce him into being a better person.
oh, I'm into that. I
Okay.
could do that. I try to do it like with just gaslighting and just
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
my
yeah,
mental
yeah,
prowess.
yeah,
But
yeah.
aside from that, I think maybe like that could help.
Yeah.
I'll look into that.
Okay.
Okay. Hell yeah. We've learned a lot today. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
This is the inaugural the
Welcome to
cock
the
club.
podcast.
So this is a really big podcast for us guys. We're part of a network now, as we talk about just extreme drug use and drugging people. But the cool thing about that is we have a lot of leeway to just freely speak like we already do.
Mhm.
And it's hard to find a place where you can do that in this day and age, dare I say.
For
Yeah.
sure.
So with that said, the new podcast name is The Alternative, hence my boots today and my black fit. So I'm going to rapid fire some interesting facts that I found about you.
Oh God. Okay.
And then end with my favorite one. You have been on Kill Tony, correct?
Yes.
So I saw you on stage next to Theo. That's kind of sick.
Yeah. That was the second to last time I was on.
How was that?
That was very fun. Theo's one of my favorite comedians, so getting to do stand up in front of him. The thing that's weird about Kill Tony is that you're just doing a minute.
Mhm.
So most of the time I'm doing 10, 20, 30-minute sets.
Yeah,
So to condense it into a minute, the pacing, the timing, all
it's
that,
intense.
it's very different. And the added like intensity of having people that you look up to and respect
Mhm.
right next to you about to just roast the shit out of you. That kind of ups the ante a little
Have
bit.
you ever cried? Have
No.
you ever wanted to cry? Thought about it? Damn. How?
No, no.
How do you like compartmentalize that?
Well, so I'm good at it.
Yeah.
So that helps. When I have like really, really bad sets or I bomb really badly, it hurts. But it's also built up a tolerance to that by
Mhm.
doing it a bunch. Because when you first start, most of the time you're bombing. Even if people like it, it's not really because of you. It was like accidentally good. And then you start to figure out stuff. That's also like the mindset of how you look at failure.
Yeah.
Because it's like, did you fail or is it just like a step on the path?
Well, learning
Because I
experience.
think you don't fail unless you quit.
No mistakes, just happy accidents, like Bob Ross says.
Yeah.
You opened for Louis C.K.
I did.
That's fucking sick. How did that happen?
He was performing at the Creek in the Cave,
Okay.
which is like my home club. He was touring for his special that he released at the Dolby. It just so happened to luck out that the guy that always opens for him, Joe List, was at Mark Norman's wedding,
Mhm.
and so couldn't make it in for this show.
Just put him in a trunk.
Yeah,
Just,
so-
like,
yeah,
tied up.
yeah. And so then me and Ariel Isaac Norman ended up opening for him.
Well, with all of those accomplishments,
Yeah.
all of the accolades, everything that we just talked about, there's one that really stood out to me as my favorite,
Oh God.
and that's your tattoo.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and just the lore attached to it and the person. I think the people need to be introduced to him. I hope to have him on soon, but I just think the general public should be aware.
The general public should be aware. I think legally he has to make them aware when he's around. We're talking about Gary.
We are.
Hold up.
The man in question is Gary, also known as Scary Gary.
Scary Gary,
Mhm.
Gary Faust of Faust Media, aspiring media mogul, full on insane person, train robber. He's a wild human being. We just connected because we were both crazy assholes. And then when I moved back here in 2020, me and Eli had a podcast and we needed somewhere to record. And Gary had an attic at his house that he kind of turned into a studio.
Yeah.
The 6th or 7th episode, we had a clip hit like 800,000 views on TikTok. And we're like, holy shit, like this is working. It's so soon in the pod. So then after that happened, the next episode we were talking about it. And I said, if we have a clip hit 1 million views, then I'll let TikTok pick my next tattoo. Sure enough, next clip hits like 2.5 million.
Wow.
So then I'm a man of my word. So I was like,
Damn.
TikTok gets to pick a tattoo. So we put up a video with me like preemptively saying the bet and then losing the bet and then pick what you want. Top liked comment wins in 1 week. So we started the timer. So it was going to be get insert here as a tramp stamp. And it was a James Charles portrait on my thigh.
Oh God, that
Wait,
would've
these
been
are
amazing.
phenomenal ideas. Hold
I
on.
know. They're
Wait.
phenomenal and terrifying.
I would do this. Honestly, should we? I would get a random tattoo. What do we have to do?
I
Like,
think
what are like
if you're
the
going to set up for the internet,
There's
one of the things I
stipulations.
learned is set some limits.
yeah?
And like with 2 days to go in the voting, winning by like 500 votes was get daddy in Chinese on your forearm.
That's
Then
hilarious.
with like an hour left, Gary was live on a talk show and convinced everybody to go and flood the post and go and
Oh.
vote to get Gary on your arm. So
Well played. Well played,
Yeah,
Gary.
he ended up winning that, and then we had to find a tattoo artist that would do a portrait last minute. And then my only good part of, if I had to have Gary on my arm, I picked, he went and did a reporting thing at CPAC, the big like Republican convention in Florida,
What?
and was just like blown out of his mind, hungover, and just looked so ridiculous. And he's in a suit and just looks like the face of death.
May we see the portrait in question? Haley.
Yeah, I need to see this.
Michael Cargill, that is a gay black Republican. Gary and him have like a live 2A talk show and radio show that they do.
Wow.
They used to do like a comedy show at his gun store.
Bro, he's
A total
multifaceted.
nightmare. Yeah.
You know, get you someone that could do both.
Yeah.
They can have a heart attack in a drugstore, but also be at a convention.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is I'm saying all this stuff about Gary, but I want all of the listeners to keep in mind, and viewers, like I was at Latchkey for back in the day when they had Cutthroat Karaoke there, and it's a Tuesday at like 9:30, and I'm inside having a drink, and Gary comes in, he goes, "Oh man, I was just in my car and I started feeling chest pains, and then I just took like a 2-hour nap, and now I'm good." I'm like, "You took a nap?" And he's like, "Oh, I kind of just lost consciousness." I'm like, "Dog, you had a heart attack." He goes, "Nah, can you get me a beer?"
He said the nap wasn't on purpose.
Yeah, he just straight up died in his car for 2 hours, woke up and was like, "I need a Lone Star about this."
Flatline.
He was
Yeah.
like minor stroke, but
Yeah.
a beer will bring me back. I'm surprised he has custody based on
He
everything
does
that
not.
I know.
He does not.
Damn.
No, he does not have custody.
Oh, God.
I'm like, justice for Gary, you know, honestly, or maybe not.
Supervised visitation.
I mean, hey, you know,
Perhaps an extra day.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Supervised, but that.
Supervised visits
Yeah.
for Gary. That's what we want. Supervised visits for Gary.
Yeah, there you go. Gary, we're on your
Start the
side.
petition.
The Republicans will back him on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The GOP, they have Gary's back.
Yeah.
Dude, speaking of heated battles, I'm in one right now.
With who?
Well, so upon changing the title of the podcast,
Stop. I know where this is going.
dude, I am gonna have to break some legs. I'm really upset. So someone has @y'alternative on Instagram already,
Okay.
but it's not me.
Yeah.
And so there lies the issue.
Yeah. No,
So-
I put the two together.
I'm like,
right
are you
away.
following me here? I'm like,
Oh,
stay
man.
with me here. Stay with me.
Okay.
It's a little complicated.
So someone else has the IG handle.
Correct. Yes. And so,
So you have what, the alternative podcast?
well, so here's the thing. It's not over. This is by no means over. I will not go down without a fight. So I'm talking to the guy who like owns the network and also like the Black Craft brand. And I'm like, look, Bobby, what can we do to at least try to get this? And he's like, I got a guy. So he puts us in a group chat. All of a sudden, it's like 1 a.m. This is like some Matrix shit. They're like, oh, we're going to get the handle. We're going to get it. And the guy's like, I'm on it. He goes to look, but turns out this guy hadn't posted in years.
Mhm.
It was like a dead account. So I thought, all of a sudden, this man decides to go on a Euro trip to fucking Dusseldorf or some shit. And he's in Germany just posting pic after pic. I'm like, no, 2 days ago, he hadn't posted since like 2012. And now he's active
Damn.
again. They're like, well, guys, we can just offer him money. And I'm like, I got this. So I slide in the DMs
Mhm.
and I'm like, listen, pal,
Buddy.
listen, Tuts. Like, I can't tell you what this is about yet, but I really need
You're
you to
so
message
cute.
me back. The way like the light in Germany just like shines off your eyes, like, please. But no, I was like, this is important. I can't say what it's about, but just like message me back. He hasn't.
Oh,
But
he
also
hasn't.
there's a time
Ouch.
difference. Like,
Ouch.
I know.
How many followers does it have?
Do like 800.
Okay, so you could have, 300-400 people viewing.
Jesus only had like 3 followers, right? What was it? The saying? The other
Fuck.
Number 2, speaking of Molly, which we were earlier, I had a little snafu
Okay.
of sorts. So a man visited me here.
The nonverbal communication there is awesome.
Yeah, she already knows.
Yeah, I saw.
And guys, I have been on a journey of celibacy to rediscover myself, you know? So
Like, every girl I know is like, so I'm celibate now. Well, I slept with a guy last weekend, but I'm
Okay.
celibate now.
No,
All right. So
okay.
then this weekend I have a different guy coming, but I'm celibate.
Was actually celibate
Yeah.
for 2 years because I went very balls to the wall Christianity and I didn't.
Yeah, so you had a mental health breakdown.
I'm an extremist. So as soon as I got baptized by a homeless man, I decided that I was
Well,
definitely
that's
going
not
to go to
celibacy.
hell.
That was his cum. So a homeless baptism isn't water. I hope you know that.
this guy hits me up. I'm just fucking celibate. He's cute. And I'm like, you know what? fuck it. I text it to Bailey. I'm like, he aged very well, to be honest. I don't know what
He
he's up
did.
to these days. Yeah, right. He's cute. So I'm like, you ever come to Austin by chance? He comes up. Everything's going swimmingly. Like, we're vibing. Everything's great. I go to, have you been to the, so nefarious activities. It's fun, but just a lot of drugs, probably.
Yeah.
And so a friend of mine is using like a snow-go,
Mhm.
if you're familiar.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Neither was I until I was introduced to this by my friend. But basically, it's an apparatus. It's like a long straw made of metal that you can
Yeah.
reload, and it basically shoots it right to your frontal lobe. Snow-go has been brought out. My friend then says, do y'all want to do a tres leches bump? I'm like, what's that?
Ooh.
Well, it sounds refreshing.
Yeah.
It is ketamine, coke, and I don't know what the third leche is, though.
Yeah. What is the third?
Well, we never found out. But so he turns to the man in question that I brought.
I'm going to Google it.
Yeah.
What
I'm
did-
listening, though.
What?
Didn't
It
you
sounds
have like a Molly powder?
It was
It could be.
Molly. It was Molly, yeah.
So you guys were basically doing 2C.
So I didn't want the tres leches personally. However, the young lad next to me who had come to visit me,
Did.
who I thought was like a little like squirt. Like, I was like, surely this man doesn't want a tres leches. Surely he doesn't want the snow-go. He's like, I'll take it. I'm like, babe. And so
You're like, I like you now.
I'm like,
Yeah.
well, wait a minute. See,
Celibacy gone.
see, he does it. And he's like, oh, like that was nice. I was like, really? But then he like,
Also doing those drugs and going, oh, that was nice is a wild
but
response.
I don't think he does it often. He's like, ooh, that was like, that's how I feel like he's not like,
Ooh, refreshing.
he's not like, we go home. He's like staying at my house. And I personally had done some Molly.
Yeah.
I was feeling great.
Just
I was-
one leche.
Yeah, singular leche.
Uno leche.
Uno, exactly. So I was feeling really good. I was watching like some kind of DJ set and he's like, should I take Molly? I'm like, listen, I'm not going to tell you how to live your life.
Oh,
But it was also like 1 a.m. and I can't see. I have really bad vision.
Can't
This is relevant
see.
to the story. I did not try to do this. And he takes out like a rock. Like this was like a sizable, like a cubic
0.3,
inch.
0.4.
I don't know. So he's holding the rock in question. And I can't see. I'm honestly really entranced watching like James Hype on the TV. It was a really good set.
Mhm.
And I'm like, sure, that's good. Unbeknownst to me, this man was listening to everything I said.
funny.
Dude, I swear to you, like an inch by inch cube of just straight Molly to the face, just hero dose. Like, and my toxic trait, well, one of them is that like when I am just on like stuff like that, I just want to see what'll happen. I want to do like a little like test, you know,
Okay.
like when I was in Dubai, for example, and
Oh, God.
I kept doing like enough 2C to just kill a small village, but I was like, how far can I take this really? And I was just seeing like the Hat Man, bro. I was like, damn, but I felt great. But I just wanted to see,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
I'm
dude.
curious what happened next.
I'm just thinking back on like one time I saw Fred again in a cemetery in Hollywood and
That's
took
sick.
like a bag of shrooms and this little like shorter, the man had to have been like 5'9", but he seemed really tiny to me on shrooms and I was just screaming every time
That's
he came
small.
near me.
You were
That
like
was
a
terrifying.
midget.
I was really scared. He just like terrified me.
That's
He's
awesome.
really nice. Anyway,
That guy's got to think about that every time he has in his
he
mouth.
was being
Like,
so
I'm
nice.
short.
He's like, do you want my sunglasses? I'm like, I just, I'm like, get the
Who said that?
I'm like, yo, get him. Oh, I like freaking. Like, please. Anyway, so yeah, he takes the rock.
Yeah.
And about 20 minutes passed, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm like, hell yeah. See, that nothing bad is gonna happen here. What
I
could
mean,
go
if he
wrong?
was feeling it in 20 minutes,
Yeah.
Yeah,
something
well,
bad's about to happen.
I listen. And so then he stands up and starts pacing and he's like, whoa, uh-oh. I'm like, hey, buddy, hey, mind over matter. It's okay. Because usually I can like talk my friends down. Like when my friends are really tripping really hard, sometimes I'll have them write me a haiku to like distract themselves. It's like,
Alright.
it's a tactic I'll use. Yeah, and it works. No haikus were written. He was not well.
He knew that he was giving you the ick in that moment, but he could not help it simply.
And that, while you're in like a state of complete empathy, is just like the worst. You're like, I can feel how much he hates me and I can't stop being hateable.
Yeah, dude, honestly, I don't know. Maybe that wasn't the best, I guess, in retrospect. It's kind of like, do y'all remember like the Pain Olympics back in the day?
Yes.
Maybe it was like that, like the Drug Olympics. I was like, well, can you date me? Like American Ninja Warrior to like win my heart. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's a crazy American Ninja. Like, I don't know who you think is finishing that race that is going to be like a good candidate.
Someone, well, he's out there somewhere. I'm like, babe, call me. Just kidding. Speaking of that, but like not at all. Let's talk about the resurgence.
Best transition ever.
Yeah, right. But the resurgence of emo culture and dad rock. It is the best thing that's ever happened. Nickelback, Creed, still like listen to emo music and shit.
Mhm.
But it's interesting seeing like the new generation on TikTok like start to dress emo, you know? What was your emo phase like? Because you said you had one. So describe that to us.
I definitely had an emo phase. So I graduated high school in 2009. There was like a bunch of the like OG emo stuff. Like that was around when My Heroine by Silverstein came.
I think like Chiodos was popping off then too.
Chiodos fucked. And then like I was super into a lot of the Nickelback, Creed type of music then too. I was part of a documentary. My buddy rode a bicycle from here to Vegas.
Oh shit.
And so we followed him in an RV and like filmed the whole thing. And the follow car was basically just me and one other guy most of the time, just filming out of the front with like cameras strapped on, but we're driving 30 miles an hour for 7-8 hours a day. So mind-numbingly boring. And the car didn't have Bluetooth, only had a CD player. So we stopped at the first Walmart we found and just went and grabbed a bunch of CDs, and I grabbed Greatest Hits of Creed. And so I put Creed in, and I know all the words to all the songs, and I'm singing along. And it started with all of them being like, dude, fucking Creed, fuck you. And then by the end, like everyone's, with all. I also, T.I. is one of my favorite rappers. He's a degenerate piece of shit human being, it appears.
Sure.
But he's done some cool stuff. 2015, him and Creed were both performing at a music festival in Orlando. After his set, T.I. is at his balcony of it, like the place they're staying, smoking a blunt with his friend. And they hear like a crash and moaning from the roof. And they're like, what the fuck is that? So then they go roof access, and they find this dude who has tried to jump off of the building, and he tried to jump off the 16th floor and kill himself, but he didn't see, and he landed on the 14th floor and fucked his legs up. And so the T.I. and his friend have no idea who this guy is, go over and start smoking a blunt with him.
What?
That's Scott Stapp, the lead singer of Creed. I swear on my fucking life, T.I. convinced him not to kill himself and jump off the edge. And that's when he said, I'm 6 feet from the edge, and I'm thinking maybe 6 feet, 8 so far down.
You're fucking lying.
Swear on my fucking life.
Holy shit.
The craziest shit ever. Yeah, so like
Yo.
I remember reading, it's on the Wikipedia. It's on T.I.'s Wikipedia. He stopped 2 suicides.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he stopped that one. And then there was another one where he was just in Atlanta walking home from a recording studio, and there's a group of people, and there's a dude about to jump off a building. And then T.I. like asked the officer, like, can I like talk to him? And then T.I. talks the guy down, and he doesn't kill himself.
What? Okay.
T.I.
What would he say? Like, imagine you're T.I., you grab the mic.
This is trouble, man.
He's like, do you want an ATL5 or not? Like, damn, that's crazy.
I've got Chevys, all colors, man. Just come down here, you can have a Chevy.
Imagine like you try to jump and then you just look up and see T.I. with a blunt. He's like, nah, don't do that.
Dude, imagine that. Like that's what I like. Really, I can't get out of my head. Is you're a dude and you're like, I just got fired from my job. I came home and my wife was cheating on me. I'm gonna fucking end it all. And you go to the shitty hotel downtown with a tall building, and you get up and you're like on the edge, and you're like, this is fucking it. And the cops yell, and you're like, I'm just gonna fucking do it. And then someone goes, hey man, you go, is that fucking T.I.?
Police in Atlanta are just like have T.I. on their unit.
Yeah.
Police is on the
They're like, we got another jumper. Bring out T.I.
Put up the tip signal. So that was my answer about emo.
I'm like, wait, I forgot.
To answer your question about emo is T.I. stopped Scott Stapp from killing himself. Back to emo stuff.
Yes.
AFI.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember them?
Of course, Miss Murder. Yeah.
So during their like emo era, like the Leaving song and all that, they had a brand of eyeliner that was AF eyeliner. And I wore guy liner to a 1021 The Edge in Dallas Fort Worth, had Edge Fest every year. And I wore that to Edge Fest. A few years ago, they had a show at Stubbs on 9/11 that was Rise Against, Anti-Flag, and AFI.
Oh, that's fucking sick.
And I was like, oh, that's going to be an awesome fucking concert. And I was thinking it's going to be AFI, the Silly Little Sweet Emo Boys.
Yeah.
And they're going to go up and sing that. Davey Havoc, the lead singer of that. So before they were an emo band, they were like a heavy punk band.
Oh.
And he's like one of the most unbelievable performers. And I had like a whole resurgence of just like my high school. I was like, fucking love AFI.
Pulls out the AF eyeliners all crusty from like 10 years ago.
Let's go, Davey.
Just gets an eye infection. I'm like,
literally conjunctivitis.
Mike, how'd you get pink eye?
Listen, might bring back Warped Tour, so I hear.
That would be amazing.
I think it would. It was dangerous though. Like literally no water, like Monster Energy, dehydration.
Yeah.
Like
It's so cool to see how much better festivals have gotten in that regard, though.
And I think it's probably because people were dying and shit now.
Yeah.
You know?
They
like,
sued them into being good.
Yeah. I don't know if it was like on their own accord. I feel like it's like Woodstock 99, right? Like, didn't people die there? And then
I feel like people have died probably anywhere where you could be doing drugs.
Yeah,
and
if you
not
got,
drinking
like,
enough water.
Limp Bizkit and it's the 90s, someone's probably gonna die. Do you know
God,
what I
how
mean?
awesome was Limp Bizkit, though?
Oh, insane. Just one of those days. Do you guys think you'd make it to the end of a scary movie?
I was in it.
If you're in it. Like, you're in a scary movie. Like, all of a sudden, like, here, the lights cut. You just hear, like, some, like, nefarious, like, cackling in the background. You're like, oh, fuck. Like,
If this
like,
is
right now.
if we're the cast, the three of us, there's no way I make it to the end. But I make it pretty far because
Yeah.
I'm comedic relief.
Yeah.
One of you is dying immediately.
Shit, I feel like it's gotta be me.
One of you is
I
dying
don't
immediately because
know.
that's how movies work.
Yeah.
We don't have a black guy, so one of you dies.
Damn.
No, I feel like that if we were in a scary movie, you would be the like token blonde, like hot girl that gets saved, that like
What?
makes it through the end.
Oh, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The one
But
who,
you're
like,
a bodybuilder. You could totally just like rip Jason Mask in half or something.
I mean, I guess, but like, am I too dark for them? You know,
Oh,
are they
yeah.
gonna kill me off?
Yeah, they're gonna think that your tan is blackface.
What?
Yeah, they're
progressive.
just gonna be like, listen.
Gets canceled for
Yeah.
seeing herself. They're like, get her.
I mean, the
She's the
definition's
darkest
incredible,
one.
but she is the darkest. So
Y'all heard of that haunted house where like they get to touch you and shit?
I'm out.
Yeah.
Out 100%.
But
I
it's-
got banned from a haunted house when I was 16. I went with a big group of friends. And, you know, you go with all the hot girls because they like
Yeah.
to get scared. And then you're like, I'll protect you or whatever.
Yeah.
But also, like, don't touch me. I hate being touched. Don't touch me. That's like, that freaks me out.
Hmm.
And we're walking through and a dude with like a fake scary chainsaw popped out behind me. But he bumped into me when he was popping out.
Ugh.
And I just, pop. I wasn't expecting him. There was a guy behind me and he touched me and I hit him and we had to leave and it was a whole big problem. And everyone was like, you're not tough. And I was like, I wasn't trying to be tough. You
A
thought I was being
slap?
tough going, oh my God. Like, so tough. Jump scares are cheap.
I
Scare me
can't.
psychologically.
There you go. Yeah.
No. Oh, have you seen that like crazy one where people have to like sign a waiver, literally torture you?
They like lock you in shit.
They like
Crazy.
torture you. You sign a waiver that basically like you can't tap out. Like you have to go through the whole thing.
Your earthly rights.
And they're like locking you in a cage and it's like an hour long. Like it is a whole,
That's for people that like have some kind of weird something going on.
they have
though.
like a kink.
giving like Chris Angel though a bit. Like how he does like, you know what I mean? He'd put like the hooks in his back and like levitate over Vegas and shit.
yeah.
Like,
No,
All
I
of
get
those
that.
people have something wrong with them.
Oh yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
Chris Angel's mentally sound.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
like,
David Copperfield just got accused of a bunch of raping.
I
dude,
know.
Hereditary though was fucking fire. It was like terrifying.
Yeah, I heard that one was scary. Midsummer is supposed to be very
Oh,
scary.
well, so funny enough that you mentioned those exact two movies. I watched both of them back to back with my ex on acid.
Oh, you're dumb.
It
Dude,
was so
what time
stupid.
did
You're
you
so
do
dumb.
that?
Why
I was
would
trying
you
to
do
be,
that?
bro. I was trying to be cool. Okay, so the way the night
I
started,
was trying to be cool. I thought he'd like me.
I did. 'Cause, okay, the night started. So we're sitting there. We're at my apartment. We're just hungover, and he's like, "Have you ever seen like hentai?" And I'm like, "No."
What? Okay, okay. All right.
I'm like, "Follow me."
Okay, okay. Hungover hornies hit different.
No,
Whatever.
listen, I don't know. He's like, let's just like watch some weird shit. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting, like a tentacle, cool, whatever. I was like, perhaps a movie.
Yeah,
Like,
you're
let's like watch it.
Hey, I'm kind of over tentacles and cartoon chicks. Let's maybe watch scary stuff. That's crazy.
So then
That's
he's
another
you
thing.
know
like,
that
how do you
dude was
get
just
that?
into hentai and finally just was like, I don't care enough to hide it. What if we watch like some
maybe
weird shit?
whatever.
Yes.
Teach
No,
them.
not maybe.
Listen.
Okay, all
I
right,
bet he
maybe.
could have taken the whole Molly Rock. Just kidding.
How is
He
that
probably
a
could
whole-
be a
Yeah,
Molly
he's a
Rock. And then he
psychopath.
would have been like, hey, do you have anything I can shove in me that's squid shaped?
Please.
All right, so your hentai boyfriend is like,
Yes. So he's like, have you seen Midsummer? Like, actually, no, but I've heard it got rave reviews from the Critics and Actors Guild. And I don't know. Like, let's throw it on. So we do. That was horrifying. I was like, oh no, maybe like let's watch another movie. So then he's like, have you seen Hereditary? Because I am a big scary movie gal. Like, I like a well done
Mhm.
scary movie, psychological moment.
Do you think watching shit like that, like scary movies or like murder mysteries, do you think it like kind of like summons some like creepy shit into your life?
I've heard that my grandma, well, both of them are very superstitious because like my mom's side, like they like I think I'm second generation from like Russia, and then my dad's second generation from Mexico. So they're both very like, so they think so.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so that's where I've heard that.
yeah, people
Personally-
from mud huts think things like that.
just my ancestors are like, yo, fuck you.
I think it's true.
Oh. You're like, first of all, fuck your dead grandparents.
No, I just bait or mine off. When you see something, you have a recency bias. So it's like when you buy a new car, you see everyone else with that car. It's not that everybody else went and bought that car because of you. It's because you're now aware to look for that. So when you watch creepy, scary stuff, your brain is now tuned for creepy, scary stuff and you notice it.
But it begs the question, like, do you believe in that too? Like pre-existing, I feel, you know what I mean?
My mom is like a Dateline whore. Like she loves a good murder mystery, and she hears shit. She can't even play white noise because she says that like she'll hear people like talking to her through it. And I'm just like, maybe
Classic.
Classic.
That's all I have. Yeah.
But I definitely get that. Like I have to monitor what kind of content like I'm into. Because if I get in I'll watch like a shit ton of Law and Order SVU. And then it's like, I love the show. It's so great. But then it's just like, you're so sad about the world.
Yeah.
And it's just like, everybody's getting raped all the time. But yeah, and so you get sad about this. And like, or if I'm watching like a bunch of like Criminal Minds, then it's like everything now is just murder and serial killers.
But it's like, who's to say like what even is real and what isn't? Okay, back in the day, like people thought like someone needed like an exorcism, but maybe they did have schizophrenia. But who's to say like maybe they were possessed? Like, how do you know?
We have no proof of demons. But we have a lot of proof of schizophrenia.
But what if that's caused by the demons that we just don't, maybe they're just being sick.
I'm with you.
I literally don't know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
There's something to maybe there's like ghosts and shit and leftover soul stuff.
Yeah.
When you get into the world of like what's the operating system and what's the hardware and where do we go when we die and where does all the energy come from? There's mystery there.
Yeah.
So at least I can get into maybe something happens and you sit around in this plane if you have unfinished business. I can get in that. But like in terms of like science, like science is just all the laws about how the world works. And there's people that are so much smarter than me that have all come to all the same opinions. And it's like, I'm smart enough to know how dumb I am. And so I just trust what the smart people are saying on that stuff. But they don't know what happens when we die either.
Yeah. I feel like if I was a demon, I would just be extra nefarious. So I would make them think that,
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that was actually me. But I'm going to make y'all think that it's like mental health. I don't know. Be crafty.
I've seen people talk about how they grew up in like devil worshipping families and how they like experienced that. Like growing up, like their families would have like seances and they'd just see demons like running around their living room. And I'm just like, you know what? I believe it. Like I believe that there are
I'm not gonna
people
test
out there.
it,
No, absolutely not. But like that shit is scary as fuck. I think that all of it exists. That's why I just steer clear of anything related.
Growing up at like a sleepover that I went to once, they brought out like a Ouija board. I'm like, what kind of weird ass? Even if it doesn't do anything, why are you gonna like tempt fate? Why
are you trying to test the waters? It's like when you did the Bloody Mary in the mirror when you were growing up.
I remember doing that when I was like 8 and 9 and being like legitimately terrified something was gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then like as I got older, it was like, oh man, kids are stupid. But then there's also your pineal gland calcifies as you get older. And we know that the pineal gland produces DMT, which is what you smoke to go to the breakthrough and go to the astral realm. So if that's naturally producing it and is not calcified yet when you're younger, maybe you have a stronger connection to those other realms. Maybe you can see other stuff then. And that's why you can't see them as you get older.
Damn.
There's a lot of theories that the brain acts as a filter rather than actually observing what's around you. As you're observing things and the brain filters out all the information you don't need.
Yeah.
So
I was reading something recently that like things don't actually exist if you can't see them.
There's a whole like branch of philosophy, solipsism, that's the idea that like you are the only person in the universe and everything else is a manifestation of your mind. And the proof of that is that nothing exists until you encounter it. But those things exist separate from you. So it's like, but it's a very interesting wormhole to go down. Like, is the world procedurally generated out as I interact with it? Like, is it like a map in Zelda where the stuff is just unlocked once I visit it, but it's all gray until I go there?
You ever seen something that you feel like you can't explain? Like where it's just like defies, like, no, never?
No.
Damn.
All of it makes sense.
He's rationalized everything, this man. I'm convinced.
100%. Yeah.
I feel like I have. I don't know. And the thing is, like, I feel like I try to think with a lot of ration and logic, but there's just some shit, I don't know, that I can't explain.
The one that I could explain for the longest time is I had a very distinct core memory of being at my grandmother's house and the house is set up like this. There's a big backyard that goes to farmland and like where all their horses and stuff are kept. And then the front yard has a huge 1/4 mile long U-shaped driveway and like a big garden. And I remember standing at this point in the house on the south side of it, and the left side, everything was pitch black. And then when I got to the right side, everything was like bright outside.
Oh.
But it was like the middle of the day. And I was like certain that had happened and like never had an explanation. But that was just the last time there was an eclipse that went through there. And I literally was a kid experiencing an eclipse, and none of the parents had internet or knew anything because it was like 1995. But yeah, so there's, you know, like every time in my life that there's been something like, what the fuck was that? It's like, oh, that's what happened.
I think I try to rationalize everything too, though.
Yeah.
So that I'm not scared.
It's just like weird shit that's happened that's like pretty like unexplainable, I would say. Where like I'll tell someone else and they're like, how the fuck did you know that? Like, I don't know. But that's a story for another day.
I was in hell one time. That was pretty bad.
Oh no.
Oh, that's scary.
That's terrifying. What did that look like?
I'm
like, let's revisit that.
2CE. I didn't really know what it was. The guy just sold it to me as like 4 hours of Molly, 4 hours of acid. I was like, oh, that sounds great. And it was like 100 milligrams in like a bag. And he gave me a bunch of gel caps to put it in. And he was like, whatever you do, don't snort this. And so I was like, okay. So I ate like, I think he also said like, don't take more than 40.
Mm-hmm.
So I took like 20. I waited like an hour and a half. I felt nothing. And then I touched my pinky in it and licked it, and my mouth went numb. And I was like, it's shitty Coke. That's why he said don't snort it, because then I would know. So I just blew the rest of it and was like, fuck it, I'll go have a night. And then I started noticing like weird feelings, like everything was just off. And then it was like anything that I wanted that I thought would make me feel better, as soon as I got it, it made it so much worse. So I was like very hot. And so I was like, I'll just go to my room and I'll strip down, I'll sit in my boxers. And then I'm sitting in my room and I'm shivering, freezing fucking cold. So I was just alternating between blankets and boxers and blankets and boxers. And then it's like, maybe some weed will help me feel better. And then I smoked weed and I hated the taste of it. It was like, oh, I fucking hate smoking. My lungs feel gross. My best friend, Sean, seeing Sean would make me feel better. Sean's out at the frat houses. I can't see Sean, so I'm bummed out and I'm like sad. And then Sean finally comes back and he's all drunk and being like a super douchebag. And I'm like, I fucking hate Sean.
Oh,
you know?
no.
So just like everything fucking sucked. And then I went on a walk to try and clear my head. And when I looked out at the whole horizon, everything above the sightline, there was just like Aurora Borealis style flames. So it was just huge. So everything was fire and I could only see it when I wasn't directly looking at it. So if I looked up at the horizon, it was just normal. But when I would look back down, just fire everywhere. And so I started trying to rationalize it and figure out what was going on. And it was like, well, it's drugs, but like, what are the drugs? And then I figured what had happened was the guy that sold me the drugs was actually the devil. And that this was my test, because I'd always been searching for like the perfect, most cool drug to do that would finally get me a high that would fix things. And then this guy basically sold me a bill of goods. It sounded like this, gave me a bunch of rules to follow to do it. I didn't follow any of the rules. So I broke all the rules and I did all this stuff. So then my punishment was that now I'm permanently tripping in a bad place.
Damn.
And that this is my layer of hell. And the only way to get out of it is to move to the next layer. And then I went sober for like a month after that.
That's a valid decision. Yes. Probably safe to say.
And when I got back into just drinking and smoking, and then I did 2.5 years of literally nothing but nicotine and caffeine. Yeah.
Well, let's end with that lesson, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, at the end of the day,
if you think you're dying all the time, don't do DMT.
Like the DMT we made along the way, you know? Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Loved having you. Don't do drugs, guys, please. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
And her nickname